Episode 7 of Red Swan starts with the prosecutors arresting Hyun-soo for embezzlement. Won-soo is shocked and worried since he is her last remaining relative, so Do-young tries to comfort her. As they hold hands, Young-guk drops by and sees them. However, he ignores it and tries to call Mr. Han. Han ignores Young-guk's call and meets with Young-min and his wife, Ji-young. The old man lashes out at Young-min for doing things behind his back. He doesn't mention exactly what Young-min did for the sake of Ji-young. However, it is clear that Young-min was the one who sent an anonymous tip to the prosecutor. Young-min hopes to steal Hwain from his brother, but he makes the wrong move at the wrong time. Elsewhere, Won-soo visits the prosecutor's office to assure her brother. Hyun-soo reveals that he has dirt on Hwain and won't go down without a fight. He also says the same when Mr. Han drops by to make sure he will take the fall. Han is almost impressed and promises to get Hyun-soo out in no time. He also tries to throw Hyun-soo off his game, saying that perhaps the one with the real ledgers was the anonymous snitch. Later, Mr. Han lies to Chairwoman Park that he believes Do-yoon stole the ledgers and reported Wow Foundation to the prosecutors. He adds that Chairwoman Park has nothing to worry about as he will fix everything. The two then call Won-soo and get her to admit that she ordered Do-yoon to steal the ledgers for her. Mr. Han and Chairwoman Park accuse her of being stupid to have an affair with her bodyguard and give him such valuable information, especially knowing he is a former cop. They argue over whether they should kill Do-yoon, but Won-soo insists that Do-yoon is innocent and she will retrieve the ledgers. She also disagrees that Do-yoon went to the prosecutor's office. Out of concern for her, she promises to get the ledgers back. Do-yoon goes over the ledgers and is surprised to learn that Chairwoman Park is the one set to take the fall if the truth comes out. As the day goes by, Mr. Han threatens Do-yoon and asks him to return the ledgers, but she refuses. He becomes more curious to find out why Mr. Han wants to betray Chairwoman Park. When Won-soo calls him to go for a run, he tells her everything about the ledgers. However, he is worried when Won-soo starts to doubt him again and asks for the ledgers back. He worries that she will have nothing to fight back with if he gives her the ledgers. He asks her to trust him and allows him to protect her as well. The two embrace and admit that as much as they have feelings for each other, they ought to wait before acting on them. Simultaneously, Ta-ara gets offended when Mr. Han rudely rejects her brother's help. She calls him more to vent and they decide to leak the news of Hyun-soo's arrest. The following morning, Chairwoman Park gets pissed after reading the newspaper. Once again, Han promises to take care of it. They call for an impromptu meeting as the media continues to question if Won-soo was involved and if she will be getting a divorce. Mr. Han visits Hyun-soo again to make sure he will hold his end of the bargain and promises to get him free soon. Hyun-soo is hoping the investigation can be carried out while he is free, and he mentions more secrets he has on the Hwain group to motivate him to work quickly. Later, Mr. Han reports to Chairwoman Park that Hyun-soo is cooperating, but they should use this opportunity to get Won-soo to step down from the foundation. They agree to leak the candid photos of her and Do-yoon, but they need more damning proof. To get this, they plan to send Won-soo to Busan to celebrate the anniversary of the Hwain resort there. They promise to send Young-guk later after he is done with work. They also ask Won-soo to do a photo shoot with Young-guk while there to clear the divorce rumours. Won-soo agrees to go without thinking much of it, and Mr. Han sends So-dam to secretly follow Won-soo and capture photos of her affair with Do-yoon. However, he also orders her to kill Won-soo and frame Do-yoon for the murder. Through a flashback, we learn that Mr. Han is worried as he knows that the chairwoman's legal will is about to be executed soon. The chairwoman went to New York to ensure that Mr. Han could never get his hands on the will before his 70th birthday. The chairman's 70th birthday is around the corner and Mr. Han meets with one of the lawyers from New York to get more information. The lawyer, Haley, refuses to tell him the specifics of the will, but after he promises her a large sum of money, she gives him a tip. She mentions that the chairman's money will be going to the Wow Foundation, and Mr. Han later calls Young-min and shares this information with him. He promises to give Young, the Hwain group, if he accepts to take over the Wow Foundation. Meanwhile, Do-yoon and Won-soo enjoy a scenic ride to Busan and even stop to look at the sea and hug. They are unaware that So-dam is taking photos of them, and once they get to the house, they settle in as they await Young-guk. However, Mr. Han makes it hard for Young-guk to get there in time. He also calls back the guards at the Busan house to allow So-dam enough time to complete her mission. After learning Young-guk won't make it, Do-yoon offers to stand guard in Won-soo's room to protect her. He leaves to check the grounds and So-dam uses this opportunity to get inside the house. Thankfully, Won-soo spots her before she can attack and fights back. Her screams summon Do-yoon, who rushes in to save her. He manages to get her into the room and advises her to escape through the window while he fights. By now, Do-yoon is sure that he is dealing with the same assassin thanks to her knife skills. He tries to remove the assassin's mask but fails, and the fight gets more intense and it ends up with Do-yoon getting hurt. Nonetheless, he doesn't give up. Meanwhile, Won-soo makes a run for it and hides inside a boat at the port. So-dam sees her and attacks again. This time, Won-soo hits her head against the table and faints. Do-yeon arrives in time to save her and continues fighting with the assassin, and that is where episode 7 comes to an agonising close. Episode 8 of Red Swan picks up right where we left off, with Do-yeon heading towards the port to save Won-soo. An intense knife fight ensues again with the assassin and Do-yeon gets hurt. Luckily, he can still fight and slices the assassin's hand too. He then kicks her into the water and uses that opportunity to get on board and drive the boat away. It is only after he gets Won-soo away that he passes out. The next morning, Young-guk and Kyung-ju rush to the house only to find a bloody mess. At sea, Do-yeon finally gains consciousness and embraces Won-soo out of concern. The two share a steamy kiss before he takes her back to the house. Won-soo later wakes up and is startled to find herself clinging to Young-guk, thinking he was Do-yeon. Young-guk tries to find out what happened, but Won-soo also claims to have no answers. The couple quickly put a happy facade in front of the cameras, but Won-soo is thinking of Do-yeon as she keeps stealing glances at him. Earlier that day, she attended to his wounds as they talked about their next plan. Do-yeon admitted he was suspicious of Mr. Han, but they still needed evidence to prove his motive. After the shoot, Won-soo follows Do-yeon's orders and asks Young-guk questions about Young-min, being his legitimate brother and the death of the chairman. She insinuates that whoever wants her dead also killed the chairman. Of course, the question surprised Young-guk and he makes it obvious that Young-min is his step-brother. However, he doesn't know why or who killed his father and he doesn't believe his dad was killed. He assumed his father had died while having sex with the mistress and his body was transported back to the house to hide the truth. Do-yeon overhears the couple's conversation and plans his next move. Meanwhile, Hyun-soo reveals the truth about the quack shaman who has been selling the so-called water of life to the chairwoman for millions of dollars. Hyun-soo did this to push Mr. Han to work quicker on his release and prove he has dirt on the Hwang group. The media has a field day going after Chairwoman Park, making her look like a laughing stock. Once again, Mr. Han promises the chairwoman that he will fix the problem. He suggests that they release the photos of Won-soo and Do-yeon being all cozy and claiming they are having a torrid affair. To convince Chairwoman Park, Han brings up the real reason Do-yeon joined the company. He believes Do-yeon is after Hwang to revenge Ju Hyuk's death, but fails to admit to Chairwoman Park he ordered the hit. Chairwoman Park agrees to the media play to save her skin. Won-soo continues to hide her suspicion of Mr. Han and acts cordial in front of him. Han threatens to send So-dan back to the 8-star gang if she fails the mission again. He lies that the order came from Chairwoman Park and asks So-dan to prepare for another attack. At the same time, Han leaks Won-soo's affair and the media hounds Young-guk on his way home to give a statement. Young-guk does head home and confronts his mother. He blames her for trying to ruin Won-soo's reputation and accuses her of being the real adulteress. Young-guk laments that his mother's affair broke him and he can't even have a real relationship with the woman he loves. Park tries to explain that she was forced to marry and she is the one who built Hwang into what it is. Still, Young-guk insists that she should have hidden her affair from him. Tadada overhears her conversation and is heartbroken. She finally understands that Young-guk will never love her. She opts to pack her things and leave. Later, Young-guk drinks while crying, reminiscing about how he fell for Won-soo. It is revealed that he visited Won-soo's mum after her death and felt hurt that Won-soo never bothered to tell her about her mother's passing. At the time, Won-soo clarified the boundary between them and said they couldn't salvage their marriage, so they were no longer in love. The following day, Mr. Han helps Hyun-soo get released and strikes a new deal. He asks Hyun-soo to take the money under his name and disappear after handing over the evidence he has on Hwang Group. He also asks Hyun-soo to get the original ledgers from Do-han, revealing that Won-soo is having an affair with the bodyguard. Hyun-soo is shocked and confronts Do-yeon. In turn, Do-yeon asks him why he is not protecting Won-soo and they talk about the ledgers. Do-yeon admits that he loves Won-soo and is willing to protect her. He tells Hyun-soo that Mr. Han lied about what is in the ledgers and if the truth is discovered, Chairwoman Park is the one who will go to jail and not Won-soo and her brother. After hearing this, Hyun-soo decides to join forces with his sister. Do-yeon continues to look into Mr. Han's motive to frame Chairwoman Park. He sneaks into Mr. Han's house again and goes through the contents of his safe. This time, he finds evidence that Young-min is Mr. Han's son. He realises that Mr. Han must have a diabolical plan in mind. Han returns to the house and Do-yeon luckily escapes without being seen. He spots Young-guk visiting Mr. Han but doesn't hang around to eavesdrop. Young-guk confronts Han about having an affair with his mum and he mocks Mr. Han, saying that Young-min and Chairwoman Park will never truly accept him because he is only a servant. Mr. Han loses control and smacks Young-guk. He threatens to kill him if he attacks Young-min. After this meeting, Young-guk goes back to the house and asks for Do-yeon to be tied up in his room. Thankfully, a servant alerts Won-soo. Thanks to his big ego, Young-guk orders Do-yeon to be freed so they can fight man to man. However, he changes his mind and grabs a gun. He threatens to kill Do-yoon if he doesn't explain the truth about why he came to Hwayne. Do-yoon remains calm and explains everything about Ju Hyuk. Won-soo arrives in time as things start to escalate. She tries to protect Do-yoon by admitting she loves him, but he doesn't feel the same. She begs Young-guk to let Do-yoon continue his investigation. Of course, Young-guk is heartbroken to hear and sees Won-soo protecting Do-yoon. On the other hand, Do-yoon is shocked that Won-soo admitted she loves him. After Young-guk calms down, Won-soo hugs him and Do-yoon gives him space. 2 weeks later, the New York lawyers arrive in town to execute the chairman's will. Mr. Han tries to find out more about what is in the will. Fortunately, Eiley refuses to tell him more. In hindsight, we learn that the chairman knew about Young-min being Mr. Han's son. That is why he went to New York to make sure his will won't be altered. It's also why he wanted his will executed on his 70th birthday. A week later, the chairman's family meet at the house with the lawyers to hear the will. Everyone is surprised when it is revealed that the chairman had a slush fund worth 18 trillion won, and he donated it all to WOW Foundation. According to his will, only Won-soo can withdraw the funds from a secret Swiss account, and the best part of the episode comes from Chairwoman Park and Young-min's reaction. To say they lost it is an absolute understatement. But we'll have to wait to find out the aftermath of this until next week, because that is where episode 8 of Red Swan comes to an end. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.